Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. Today's video is all about how to wear yellow in menswear, and it's a continuation of our series on colors. If you haven't already done so, please check out our videos on green, orange and black in menswear. Some men are reluctant to wear yellow in their wardrobe because they think it's too bright. While I agree, a yellow suit is very extraordinary and flashy, yellow accessories on the other hand can pair really well with classic menswear colors. On top of that, yellow just doesn't come in one shade, but in a really wide range of mustard darks all the way to light yellows, medium bright yellows, sunflower yellows, chamois yellows, you name it. It's a very broad spectrum, often influenced by brown tones, beige tones, and anything else you could think of. One shade of yellow I really like is buff. You can also think of butter, maybe ochre, and even light tones of brown, such as tan, have a form of yellow in them. Depending on its tone and intensity, yellow can be either treated as a neutral or as a strong accent in your outfit. In the spring, a pastel yellow is light and airy. During summer, a silk knit tie in yellow can be a really great accessory. Versus in the winter, yellows can be a little more darker, can have more brown tones such as mustard, and you can even wear them as a pair of chinos. So what colors go well with yellow and how should you combine them? First of all, the number one classic is to pair it with blue. Honestly, it's the easiest way to pair yellow because the colors are opposite on the color wheel and everything that's opposite from one another always pairs well. It's one of my go-to combinations for yellow, and because of that, I created a pair of socks that is shadow striped with navy blue and yellow because it's very easy to combine it, it provides enough contrast, and it's always dapper. I also picked up that color combination with my shirt and my tie, as well as my cufflinks. Generally, if you choose lighter tones, blue and yellow are really great for summer. No matter if you wear seersucker or maybe fresco or a light worsted tropical suit. However, you can also wear it during the colder months of the year. For example, here I'm pairing it with a cashmere jacket and brown tones. Chances are also you probably have a blue suit or a navy blazer in your wardrobe, and so you can easily combine things. I suggest you think about a knit tie, maybe a regular tie in some form of yellow, a pocket square, maybe socks, maybe even a light pastel shirt, which is not quite as intense as white and therefore pairs really well with sport coat combinations and more casual ensembles. Probably the item I pair the most with blue is the knit tie. The second, not so obvious candidate is gray and yellow. Gray can be quite dark and dull, but a touch of yellow certainly brightens things up. A lighter gray or mid-gray suit work well with a pastel color. A darker gray flannel suit, for example, works well with the orangey, mustardy sunflower yellow. Try to stay clear of harsh, strong neon yellows or very bright yellows because it's just too clashing with the rest of the gray. Or you decide to combine it with another softer tone such as brown, as it's done in my sport coat. It consists of light brown, mustard yellow and gray. Overall, if I had to pick just one shade of gray to pair with yellow, it would be the gray flannel. 3. One of my favorites to combine is yellow and brown. They are both warm colors and they simply go together exceptionally well. For example, in that outfit, I'm wearing a brown jacket with a waistcoat and a mustard yellow pair of chinos. Brown is the ideal muted background color for a yellow accent. Unlike gray, it also allows to create enough contrast without being too harsh. Obviously, there are lots of shades of brown that contain yellow, and because of that, it's very easy to combine. At the same time, brown remains a solid background without disappearing and being overshadowed by the yellow. If you just take a second and don't think about the core colors, you can see, for example, this pair of socks from Fort Belvedere, which is kind of a caramel yellow paired with a burgundy brown and a stripe. And even though you wouldn't think about those naturally as yellow and brown, you can totally see those tones, and it's one of the reasons it works so well together. The fourth combination I want to talk about is pairing green with yellow. As you know, I'm a big fan of green in menswear, simply because it's very versatile, and green is made out of blue and yellow. So pairing yellow with green is always a winner. It doesn't matter if you take a darker bottle green, such as in this madder silk tie, and pair it with a sunflower yellow, or if you go more with a lighter green and yellow, or maybe a darker olivey green and yellow. Green is also a popular jacket for tweed coats, and therefore it's very easy to combine it with yellow. During the colder months of the year, with a pair of chamois yellow gloves, such as these hand-sewn ones in peccary leather from Fort Belvedere, makes for an excellent combination. Of course, you can also pair a buff yellow tie with a green jacket or suit. If you want, a bow tie works as well. The fifth combination is burgundy or maroon paired with yellow. It's very classic and it has these brown tones, and because of that, it likewise works very well together. Whether you add some blue to it or you just keep it at those burgundy and yellow tones, it will always look harmonious together. Burgundy suits are the exception to the rule, and most men will not have one in their wardrobe. The same is true for yellow. However, it's a great color for accessories to pair together, and maybe dress shirts if you choose light pastel tones. In my opinion, it's a very fall-winter kind of combination, and yellow neckwear or pocket squares work particularly well with burgundy vests. To learn more about art vests and waistcoats, please check out this in-depth guide here. Personally, I also think this Fort Belvedere buff bow tie with lots of tones of yellow and blue pairs exceptionally well with a burgundy brown velvet jacket. So now that you know what colors go well with yellow, how should you wear it? First, start with accessories. Most men will probably start out wearing a tie or a pocket square in yellow because they're very easy to combine with existing color tones and items in their wardrobe. Using them in that way also allows you to experiment with them with different outfits and combinations. Once you have those two covered, you can maybe add a bow tie or maybe a pair of socks or a pair of gloves. Also, a mustard yellow and gray cashmere scarf such as this one from Fort Belvedere. It's very easy to combine with other things in your wardrobe. An important piece of advice: avoid solid yellow silk ties in shiny satin because they just look cheap. In general, the premise for yellow accessories is less is more. Try to use them sparingly and your overall outfit will be better. As you can see in my outfit, the only visible elements of yellow are my tie and my pocket square, which is a small percentage of my overall outfit. Soft pastel yellows and warmer shades that are more muted are much easier to combine than bolder, brighter ones. If you're not ready yet to get a solid yellow necktie, maybe start with yellow in a stripe or yellow in a micro pattern of your tie. Maybe just get a pocket square in yellow or something in light blue with a yellow edge stitch. If you want to add yellow in a different, more unique way, you can branch out to boutonnieres, such as with a yellow carnation. It's an inexpensive investment that adds a touch of freshness to your lapel. If you have lots of brown shoes and you don't want to spend too much money, I suggest to invest in a yellow pair of shoelaces. 2. Once you've mastered the art of using yellow in accessories, you can graduate towards using it in sport coats. In the US, many people will be familiar with the yellow blazers from the Hall of Famers at the NFL, which they call them gold because it's associated with a precious metal. Now, that's a step over the top for everyday wear, but when you start out, I suggest to go with yellow tones such as mustard as elements of your sport coats. As we discussed before, yellow goes well with blue, which is very true for indigo blue denim jeans or, let's say, with a gingham shirt. Rather than going with a strong sunflower yellow blazer, maybe made out of linen, opt for a slightly more tan-like sport coat, maybe with an overplaid. When I say yellow, I don't mean lemon yellow, but more a dark mustard yellow. Personally, I get lots of compliments for my mustard chinos, which I had made custom in Sri Lanka. They're so easy to combine with all kinds of winter outfits, but I can even wear them in the summer. It's definitely a bold choice and not for everyone. If you're in places like Rome, Naples, or on the East Coast in Martha's Vineyard, you can definitely go with brighter yellow colors, maybe even a combination as a go-to-hell pants. To learn more about go-to-hell pants, please check out this guide here. In my experience, brown jackets as well as blue jackets and green are very easy to combine with mustard-colored chinos. As a general rule, lighter yellows pair well with lighter blues versus stronger, richer yellows go better with richer, deeper blues. 4. Invest in a yellow waistcoat, specifically a buff-colored one, because a buff waistcoat is light enough to be worn with morning dress, but you can also combine it with all kinds of tweed jacket and your suits, no matter whether they're navy, gray, blue, brown, or green. A pastel-colored yellow sweater, such as a tennis sweater, can be very elegant, or you can opt for a cardigan maybe. 5. Think about incorporating yellow into your outerwear. If you look at PT Uomo, you'll see people wearing yellow overcoats, and I give it to you, that's a quite bright endeavor. In my opinion, a better and easier approach is to incorporate it into your gloves or to your scarf. Traditionally, elegant gentlemen would not wear black gloves, but they would go with gray and especially chamois yellow gloves. They did that because it's easy to combine, it provides a nice contrast, and it just always looks dapper. At the same time, while going with a yellow overcoat, maybe very peacock-like, dandyish and over the top, having just one accessory that stands out on your gray or navy overcoat is very subdued and elegant. If a bold yellow is too much for you, I suggest to go with a tan camel overcoat, because likewise it combines with all the items you already have in your wardrobe, yet it's lighter than a dark gray or blue overcoat. During the transition season from winter to spring and summer to fall, I suggest to go with a trench coat in a typical khaki color, which is also a shade of yellow. 6. Invest in a pastel yellow shirt. While most men have white shirts or maybe off-white shirts, a slightly pastel yellow shirt is excellent to combine with all kinds of casual wardrobes, and you can even wear it with a formal suit. Because of the contrast, it looks almost like you're wearing a white shirt. However, wearing a white dress shirt with a tweed coat is too clashing, whereas the pastel yellow shirt really fits in well. So what are the things you should avoid with yellow? First, stay away from really bold yellow dress shirts because they just look cheap. If you want a bolder yellow, maybe think about incorporating it as a stripe rather than a solid shirt. A pastel yellow shirt can look particularly well if you have a certain tan. 7. Think about a yellow polo shirt. Personally, I'm a big fan of strong colors during summer, and I like to wear my yellow polo shirt when I combine it with seersuckers and a pair of boat shoes. Now, I give it to you, that's not a quiet combination, but personally I think the blue of the seersucker goes very well with a yellow polo shirt, and I simply like it. 2. Avoid to wear a lot of yellow at the same time. If you have too many tones of yellow, it's just overwhelming and it looks bad. Ideally, you keep it at a max of 2 visible elements of yellow, maybe just 1 at times. 3. Don't try to combine too many visible yellows that are all kind of off. If they're in different places, such as your socks and your tie, the yellows can be slightly different, but otherwise, if they're right next to each other, it's usually more clashing than complementing. In the outfit here I'm wearing right now, the pocket square is a very pale yellow, and it works really well with a jacket. However, in other situations, it may be better to go with a different kind of pocket square. 4. As I said before, stay clear of shiny yellow ties because it's over the top. Usually satin ties or jacquard ties with bold colors are what I would stay clear of. 5. Don't ignore seasonal conditions. Like a camel color is typically associated with fall-winter weather, versus a light pastel sport coat is probably more associated with summer. So as a conclusion, yellow is not just limited to spring-summer outfits, but you can wear them year-round. If you're new to yellow, start out with accessories and then work your way up. Try to stay clear of strong bold yellows and rather go with more muted tones or pastel tones. In any case, if you don't have anything yellow in your wardrobe right now, definitely incorporate it because it will brighten up your day and give your outfits more energy and panache. In today's outfit, I try to combine quite a few different yellows simply to show you what can be done in a context of yellow in menswear. So first of all, I have a 100% cashmere sport coat, which is vintage. It has a bold Prince of Wales check, and it incorporates brown tones, gray, and mustard yellow. My dress shirt is custom made. It's a light blue cotton flannel. I'm pairing it with a rather bright but somewhat pale yellow silk knit tie from Fort Belvedere, which is complemented by a pocket square out of yellow linen with a mustard yellow contrast X stitch. You can find it in our shop here. Because I have bold colors and a patterned sport coat, my pants are very subdued and solid navy. I combine them with a brown pair of Norwegian shoes from Manina in Florence, and the brown is picked up in my sport coat. That way it's all tied together. The socks, on the other hand, are a pair of navy and yellow shadow stripe socks, and therefore they go well with the pants and they fit the theme of yellow in menswear. I decided not to wear a yellow boutonniere because it would have been simply over the top. The shirts are French cuffs, and so I opted for a double-sided octagonal pair of cufflinks with bold yellow and blue colors. Now, most of the time, those won't be visible, but once you see them, you can tell it fits the overall combination. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our free newsletter so you get our ebook 15 Style Mistakes right to your inbox. It's free.